This episode of the Mental for Moto Aussie Supercross Show is brought to you by Graphics by Aqua. If you want a lit kit, Graphics by Aqua have got you covered. Neon colours, metal flaking, holographics. Graphics by Aqua are taking jersey prints, graphics kits and graphic design to the next level. Best of all, Graphics by Aqua is locally based and exclusively use premium quality local suppliers for their full range of products and services. They even do custom logo designs and work uniforms. To see some of their awesome work, check out the Graphics by Aqua Instagram page and give them a follow while you're there, or simply follow the link below to visit their website.
There were times I was lost, dark had fear, couldn't see through the rain. In the end it was clear, hit the fan. I was more than one man who was there to lend a hand. Together we'd stand, always had my back, my guardian soldier. Team put together, united we conquer. Blessed is he who in the name of charity carry me when I'm weak straight through the valley of darkness. Pitch blackness, the heartless, regardless, fear couldn't part us. Thick and thin, there by my side. At times we collide, but in the end we ride. Thick and thin, there by my side. At times we collide, but in the end we ride. We ride. I am my brother's keeper. Keep on holding strong. United we stand, divided we fall. Together we belong. I am my brother's keeper. Keep on holding strong. United we stand, divided we fall. Together we belong. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper.
Welcome back, Moto fans. We're coming off another spectacular round of Supercross up in Wollongong, and we're now less than a week away from round 4 in Adelaide, where AME's really changed some things up this year, with the event being held in conjunction with the Velo 500 V8 Supercars round. I'm really excited to see how it's going to play out, and we'll be discussing a bit more of that later on in the show. Before I introduce my co-host for this episode, I'd like to give a shout out to our partners here at Mental for Moto, Graphics by Aqua, who are bringing you this show. Definitely make sure you get on their Instagram page and give them a follow. They have the coolest range of graphics and jersey prints available anywhere. So if your bike's looking a bit tired or you need some jersey prints in preparation for the 2025 season, make sure you give them a go. Bolt Everywhere Premium Racewear. My new Bolt Everywhere gear set just arrived in the mail. I got the Blast Vibrant 4.0 design, and it looks absolutely sick. I've loved this design and colorway since the very first time I saw it, and I'm super impressed by the materials and the quality of Bolt's latest range of gear. I'm hanging to give it a run, hopefully this weekend. Death Grip Products, Iro Helmets, Works Racing. Check out their latest range of goggles with the new magnetic lenses. Five Gloves, Southeast Pools. There's nothing better than going for a dip after a day at the track. And Wolf Building Compliance. Now, my co-host for this episode needs no introduction. He's a main event Supercross racer, friend of the show, and a regular co-host here at Mental for Moto, Zane Mackintosh.
How are we, Pete? It's good to be back.
Yeah, bit of a delay there, mate. How you going?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Doing quite well, thank you. Still on a bit of a high from the weekend.
I was about to ask if you've come down from your high, mate. You were pretty pumped up in the pits after the races.
Yeah, no, I definitely rode that one right through the long weekend. But still super pumped. Still on a high, definitely.
Oh, fantastic. Now, the plan was for you to be here in studio, but you had some rather exciting opportunities pop up. Can you tell us anything about that, or is it too soon?
No. So I've had the joy of test riding the new 2025 Kawasaki 250. So we picked that thing up yesterday, and we're getting suspension and all the good bits sorted today. So I had the first run on that, and super happy with that.
So you're going to be running that at Adelaide?
Yes. I'll be running racing that at Adelaide and Melbourne to finish off the year.
Oh, sweet as. And you've got some secret, we won't say what it is yet, but you got some sort of secret promo stuff happening with that bike as well, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely. We've got some good, cool things coming, hopefully. So really excited on Saturday if all things align.
Fantastic. Well, keep an eye on Zano's Instagram page and his socials because, there's going to be some cool stuff happening there, hopefully.
Yeah, so I had quite an unreal week up at the Gong. How was yours, mate? It would have been quite hectic.
Yeah, it was actually super, super busy. I had an 11-hour drive each way to and from Wollongong. I arrived on Thursday night, so I could be at press day on Friday, and I did a Supercross pre-race show, which is on YouTube now. I want to do some more of that type of content. So, for the listeners, please go check it out, like, subscribe, and all of that. And then, of course, after the drive home, I got stuck into working on all the photo packages, video edits, post-race rider interviews. And the last couple of days, I've been working on some rider posters for Adelaide. And obviously now, we're recording the podcast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was lucky enough to be a part of one of those awesome photo packs. You hooked me up with some awesome photos from the weekend, which was awesome.
Cheers, man. It's all pretty hectic at the races. I carry a still camera, video camera, microphone, whereas most of all the other media dudes pretty much focus on one discipline, be it photography, video, or podcasting. I feel like I'm one of those buskers that's trying to sing, play the harmonica, a guitar and drums all at the same time. But it scratches my itch for my autistic ADHD brain. So, I bloody love it, man. It's all good.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to see, mate. It's always good seeing you out there, grin ear to ear as you either got a microphone in front of you, video, or just got the still camera taking photos on the night show.
I definitely love what I do. So, anyway, let's talk about your racing at the Gong. There's obviously a lot of talking points arising out of the weekend, but first of all, tell me a little bit more about your weekend.
Yeah, no, my weekend was really good, actually. We made some adjustments coming into Wollongong, and I was feeling pretty comfy on the bike. So, I come in with a fair bit of hope and confidence, was pretty keen to hopefully put it in the night show, and then started off well, rode well in practice, put down a good time in qualifying, which got me a good gate pick for the heat. And then the heat race started. I kind of got lucky and blew wide in the first turn. And as I entered the first rhythm lane, I just watched an explosion happen of riders. I think there was about 6 or 7 guys go down. There was pile-ups. There was all going on. So, it was quite hectic for that one. So,
that was
red flag that.
Yeah, that was a bit of a roller coaster of emotions, mate. You almost got the whole shot, and then I was like, oh, whoa, Zano. And then you popped wide, and I'm like, oh, shit. And then all of a sudden, there was all that carnage, and I think you came in around the second corner in like 4th place.
No, I come out the second turn in 3rd, I think it was. And then,
that was nuts.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah, but then obviously they red flagged it, so it was back to the start. So, how'd you go then?
Yeah, and then I kind of knew that I just had to ride a smart race and keep it on 2 wheels, and I would have put it into the main, which was good, and that's exactly what I did. So I was really happy with that.
Yep.
So I was really pumped with the riding in that one, and then put it in the main, and then just rode out of my skin. It was awesome to see. So I couldn't have been more pumped to be honest with how the night went.
Yeah. Oh, in the lead up to the round, we were sort of chatting, and you're starting to put together like some of the rhythm lanes with the triples and everything like that. Is that sort of what led to some better results this weekend, you reckon, and just being more comfortable out there?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Rode a couple of different tracks and actually started putting together some decent sized lines. So I kind of had a lot more confidence in my skills. So when I rocked up, I was kind of fast in practice, where at round 1 and 2, I took all day to kind of get going. So by the time the heat race come around, I'd only just started trying to put fast laps down. So I think that definitely helped instill a bit of confidence in myself, a bit of self-belief to kind of hit things a little bit quicker and kind of get a feel for the race pace early.
No, nice. And you've been riding midweek a little bit with some of the Honda boys occasionally too, haven't you?
Yeah. So I've had the awesome joy of that. So probably the best perk of working as a bartender is being able to ride during the day in this Supercross season. So I've been training with those guys, and they've been awesome, helping me out, giving me a few pointers here and there. I mean, I've been giving them pointers as well, helping them guys work on a few things. So, it's been awesome.
No, very cool. And what are they like away from the track on race day?
Yeah, they're awesome blokes. You can see the competitive edge. You can see, the hunger and the drive they've got. The amount of hours they put down on a practice track is quite crazy. But they're, once that helmet comes off on a test day, they're just awesome people. Which is always good.
Are they pretty competitive? I mean, the championship is heating up between, McElrath and Cole Thompson and Savachi and Dean Wilson. Are they super competitive? And even Tanti was giving him a run this weekend. Are they sort of competitive midweek, or are they pretty chill and relaxed and super chill with each other?
No, they're definitely competitive. They're definitely seeing what other lines they're doing and, comparing lap times and a lot of things like that. There's pretty much race day simulations down at the practice track.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty unique situation, like having, I guess, some of the and nearly all of the main championship contenders, barring Luke Clout at the moment, all on sort of the same team.
Yeah, no, I could only imagine what it's like in that truck after some of those main events. But yeah, no, it's quite a unique experience. But I think Uribe handles it quite well. They were in a similar spot with the Motocross Championship, with kind of them being the top guys in a lot of the classes. So I think he does a really good job of helping run that team. And I think everyone has the same goal, which is to win. So I also think that one helps. Yeah.
Is Uribe always there when they're training during the week?
No. So a lot of the time he's at the up in the shop working and whatever he's got to organise. There's always phone calls going on, and he's very much in the loop. As soon as they go, just a couple of clickers, I think he's the first one to know.
All right, well, let's get back to talking about the Gong. First of all, the venue, mate. It was a great stadium. It's on the waterfront. We had a solid crowd. The track layout was good. It was another full-size moto track. I think they took some positives away from Redcliffe by making, the whoops didn't seem too gnarly or anything like that. What did you think about the track?
Yeah, no, the track was unreal. It was a really good layout, really racy. There was a couple, I think you had to get a little bit aggressive to make moves, but there was a few possibilities. There was a couple different rhythm options in that main rhythm section, which was good.
Yep.
The whoops were a little on the steep side, but I think after practice qualifying, after our practice, when they kind of went over them the first time, then we had a good set of whoops for the whole night, which was awesome to see. But yeah, no, the track crew killed it. They got lucky with the rain on Friday night, which allowed for a heap of moisture to be in the dirt. So we had good traction all day, formed up well. It was, I'd say it was the best track we raced on this year and last year.
Oh, fantastic! Well, that's that's saying a lot. I thought, we said it in the last Supercross show when I had Strode in, there was a lot of 90s, so we kind of predicted that it might be a bit hard to pass. And talking to some of the top boys afterwards, they sort of reflected that in their comments as well. Did you think it was like hard to pass, or you just the passes were there, you just had to get a little bit more aggressive?
It was definitely the second one there. It was to make a pass. It was you had to get fairly aggressive.
Yep.
But saying that, I think there was definitely places to make passes. It wasn't super one-lined. Like, yes, in the 90s, you could kind of defend that inside and make it definitely hard on the guy behind you. But there was definitely ways to get around riders, I believe.
Yeah, and like you said, there was some cool mixed-up rhythms as well. Like that quad on that second straight, that was just insane coming into that corner. That was unreal to watch, and that got the crowd pretty fired up as well.
Yeah, but that as big as it looks, that is huge. That was, they were talking about it, a track walk, and everyone was kind of like, oh, I don't know. And then, fair enough. They just stacked up and a few of the boys hit it. And then once one of them did it, they all did it.
Yep. Another thing that was new at Wollongong was those nets on the side of the over-under. I don't think I've ever seen them before. And it's weird because you don't really see too often riders going off the side. I mean, Corey Watts, that was a prime example a couple of years ago in Melbourne. But on the weekend, I don't know whether it was because the nets are there. They ended up saving quite a few asses. I think Connor Adams went off the side, Caden Menier went off the side, and then there was Joey Savachi's 50-50 grind, which was just insane across the top of that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, what do you think of those things?
Well, it was really funny, actually. We in track walk, a few of us mentioned it, and one of the people there, one of the guys that helped build it, they kind of said they didn't reckon it was really going to do that much, and it was kind of more they had to put them on for safety reasons.
Yep.
But we were all kind of joking that if you went through it, it wasn't going to hold much. And later that night, we seen that it held a 450 ride onto it and ride straight off. So that was quite impressive. But yeah, no, I don't know what the actual reasoning was. I mean, it did come into play and was really handy.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it was cool to see. But I think what was giving everyone so much trouble was that really tricky rhythms going into the tunnel jump.
Yes, yep.
Because that was super technical. That had ruts to it and a few different things. So I think that's people getting a little squirrely off that. And then the tunnel jump was where they were getting finished off.
Yeah, there was a lot of people sort of stuffing up that rhythm coming into that.
Yeah, no. I did it myself. I had quite a few lovely cases on that one that I felt on the drive home. But no, otherwise, yeah, that section was quite tricky. I think because of the way it formed up. It was kind of soft and got a little rutted, so if you weren't perfect, it was biting you.
I was chatting to JT, and he made some interesting comments on the Mental for Moto pre-race show about the lighting at Wynn Stadium from the last time he raced there in 2005, and I don't think it had changed much. Let's have a quick listen to what he had to say about it, and I'll get your thoughts.
It's exactly like what I remember from 2005. Really dark dirt, but lots of traction. The challenge for these guys, and I was kind of talking to them right before the press conference, is tomorrow night when the sun goes down with the dirt being this dark and the lights are not really set up for Supercross, right? They come in from the side, so it creates a lot of shadows in a really dark environment. So it's really tough on the racers. You know, the spectators and the viewers at home will have no idea, but the racers are going to be challenged to see the lines, battle the shadows, and get that depth perception and change in, low traction environments are going to be challenged with. So to me, that's going to be the biggest challenge. The obstacles, maybe they build big whoops, maybe they don't. But I really think that the light conditions and the way the dirt is will be one of the biggest challenges.
Yeah, so even like with the camera, I thought it was actually pretty dark out there, and JT obviously said about the shadows being across the track. Did you find that as a rider that it was hard to see? And like you said, in those rutted out sections, did that cause you any issues?
Yeah, no, definitely. It was, I don't know if it was because the dirt was that real dark kind of colour as well that it kind of made it that little bit worse. But yeah, especially compared to Redcliffe, the weekend was fairly dark in the stadium. Like, it wasn't fully dark, like we could see.
Yep.
But those ruts and the rhythms were kind of getting a little bit blurred, and with a slight shadow on it, there's a few bits where you're kind of losing your front in a rhythm, or a rut would grab you that you didn't even really see. So yeah, no, I definitely found it tricky in spots, and you kind of had to be really good placement and kind of really looking hard with your eyes, kind of trying to spot things like that. Yeah. Because stuff was trying to come out of nowhere and grab you.
So I wasn't sure, do you think that actually contributed to some of those big crashes that we saw on the weekend?
I definitely think it may have played a small part, but I don't know if, I think a few of the mistakes were, I think a few of them were just mistakes for them getting tied in the main or different things, but I know a few of the moments that were had were definitely probably started by them clipping a rut that they didn't see, or just a little edge. Thankfully, I think pretty much most of the riders walked away fairly uninjured, which was very surprising.
Oh, I mean, Instagram and the socials have blown up with footage and photos of some of those crashes, and that was just, some of them were pretty hair-raising and scary to watch. Like Miles Gilmore's bike, launching into the back of Reese Budd, that looked like a career ender, and somehow both of them seem to be okay.
Yeah, no, that was huge. I think Miles got out of that one pretty okay, and to believe that Reese got out of that without a single broken bone, it's just crazy to think.
Yeah. Yeah, I still don't understand it. I mean, I was talking to Josh Reynolds, one of the other photographers, and he was actually saying, so I didn't see it live, but he was standing right there, and he goes, oh man, if he's walking after that, that'd be good. And somehow, he's obviously banged up, but yeah, so good to see Reese isn't carrying any sort of major injuries from that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then even if you consider on the weekend the MotoGP, that Jack Miller crash.
Yeah.
And to think he just got up and walked away. It's crazy how tough and strong us motorsport athletes are. It's just mind-boggling sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Bailey Malkowitz as well. He crashed in that section we were just talking about before, what you said was technical in the lead up to the over-under, and he got body slammed so hard.
He hit the deck so hard on that one.
So With the Triple Crown format, you're a big fan or not?
No, I'm a massive fan. I am 2 for 2. We the Triple Crown last year at Newcastle.
Yep.
Put it in the main on that one. So I think I just must be a Triple Crown specialist or something. But no, I'm a big fan for it. I love the racing. I mean, I do enjoy the 20-lap traditional kind of main events. But as a guy who's a little bit kind of slower or a little bit off the back, and I enjoy the fact that I get to kind of, if I get a good start, I can kind of put it up front and kind of stay there for a little bit longer and potentially get slightly better positions.
Yeah, I definitely thought it made for some great racing. The 3 starts, it allows riders to mix it up. Our Aussie results over here tend to be a little bit less consistent than over in the US. So, the Triple Crown always makes for a lot of excitement, and sometimes it's hard to even keep track of who's where. There was a bit of confusion with the points on the weekend as well. Rather than an Olympic scoring system, they went with 25 points per race, which is a bit different to usual. And the consensus, even on race day, talking to the riders and teams, was that this was going to equate into the cumulative points for the round. But after the event, they've just ended up using the race points to determine the overall results and gone back to a conventional 25 points for the round to the overall winner, 22 for second, etc. What was your understanding on the weekend and since then of how the points were for the Triple Crown were going to play out?
So there was a lot of discussion on race day because when we found out that they were giving 25 points per moto, a few of the championship guys, obviously you get a bit nervous because you're like, if I have a bad race here, you can walk out down, 10 plus points instead of your normal 3. And then we found out at the end there that it was just to add up for that total finish. So I think there was a lot of confusion going on.
Yeah,
definitely. But I mean, I'm happy to just score points either way. But I think for the championship, it was better to be ran the way it is, to be scored the way it was. Because otherwise, you think there would have been quite a shake-up in the points in some of those races. And I think with Shane sweeping the weekend, he would be close to wrapping up the championship because of Cole going down in that second moto and a few things like that. So would have walked out upwards of 15 points.
Yeah.
15 points on second. So I think it's kind of good that they kept it as a one main.
Yeah, I could have gone either way. The top guys that I interviewed after the race, they were all sort of still at that stage thinking that they were going to get 75 points overall, being obviously for a clean sweep and from there down. And they all seemed pretty happy with it. But Cole Thompson, obviously, he had a bit of bad luck. And so I didn't actually get a chance to interview him. So he might have had a different opinion. But, it would have mixed it up. It's cool. It would have turned it into like a 7-round championship, almost, the equivalent of.
Absolutely.
All right, we won't spend too much time on it, but let's have a look at some of the results from Wollongong. I want to get on to, a little bit of talk about Adelaide, and then we'll move on. So in the SX1 class, it's the same sort of heavy hitters. Joey Savacci took out the win over Dean Wilson, Luke Clout, Jed Beaton, and then Aaron Tanti, and then Dylan Wills, which incidentally, those top 6 is exactly how they are in the championship standings as well. Any surprises in the SX1 class for you, Zane?
No, not really. I think we all kind of knew that Cloudy was going to be the only real contender for those front 2 US boys or international boys. But I was a little bit disappointed in Matt Moss's effort. I thought, kind of the home round for him tends to really kind of excel and put it up front. So I don't know if he's struggling to just run their pace, isn't super comfy on the bike. But yeah, I don't know what it was, but I thought he was going to kind of slot in with that Jed Beaton, Tanti, kind of in front of Wilsey or with Wilsey, kind of in that group there. But he, appeared to struggle a fair bit over the weekend. Yeah, well, he went down a few times, and I actually heard someone in the pits told me that he came into the round fairly banged up as well. So I don't know if that was sort of a midweek incident that resulted in that, but yeah, he had a pretty big off in the whoops, and I think in one of the rhythm lanes as well. So he would be feeling that on Monday, that's for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Which is, it's probably actually the major factor with that one. Probably feeling a bit tight, not able to push to 110. Yeah, for sure.
Joey Savacci came away with another win, but Cloudy, like the overall was definitely in Cloudy's hands until Tanti took him over the berm at the end of the second straight. Yeah, in the final moto. So that lost Cloudy the overall, but it managed to salvage a fifth, which isn't too bad, and end up on the podium again for the overall. So
with the sprint formats, Cloudy with a good start, he can definitely run those boys' pace for that those 8 laps it is. And it was good to see in the first one, took out another win.
Yep.
A little bit more straight up than his win in Redcliffe. So, he's now got 2 wins on the board, building momentum. So I think if he puts, some good starts together in Adelaide, gets a bit of luck with one of the boys having a bad start, he can definitely walk away on the top step.
Yeah, and I asked him about his riding because he's like, when he's battling with those guys, he really goes like balls to the wall and lets it all hang out. And he said that's just because he's comfortable on the bike. He said when you see him now and he's not riding like that, it's because he's not quite comfortable. But he said when he's super comfortable, that's what we'll see from him. So it looks like he's really found his form on that Cowie. So hopefully that's sort of what we can expect for these last couple of rounds as well.
Yeah, hopefully, because it just creates such good racing up front. It's always good when the leaders are battling. And I think in that last one, Joey kind of ran away with it a bit. But otherwise, it was great racing all night up front. So it was good to see.
Yeah, Dino didn't seem real happy after the event either. After the third moto, he did his TV interview and then he sort of disappeared. So I'm not sure what was going on there. Did you hear anything about that?
No, I think he was just a bit upset not to win that one because he was definitely fast and he was, trying to catch Joey in that last one, and I don't think he could quite get it done. I think lappers played a big part of that. I know when he come past, because that one I actually got to watch coming into the whoops one lap, one of the lappers nearly put him off the track, just, trying to get out of the way and went the wrong way. So yep. I think a few little things like that added up and he was pretty annoyed in the heat of the moment. Yeah,
okay, yep. The only surprise for me, which I thought was really good to see, and the overall standings don't sort of show it, was Aaron Tanti. So he was back in form. So in race 1 and 3, he ended up third. And so, he definitely had the pace, and it was only an incident in the second race that kept him out of the overall standings, and off the podium, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've been able to ride with him a couple of times during the week, and that man is fast at that test track. So, it was good to see him show that speed. I think they're still trying to get a little bit comfier. So hopefully, if he just has a couple of good starts and some clean races, he could definitely be on that podium.
Yeah, well, he's currently sits 5th in the championship, and he's already quite a long way back from those front guys. He had a bad round 1 or 2, I believe. I think he had a crash in one of them and poor results. Good to see too, quickly just before we move on, Jed Beaton. So he went 4.44 for 4th overall. Definitely consistent. And, I think he's still finding his feet with Supercross, but it's only going to take, I think, a bit of confidence, and he's going to be up there battling with these guys as well. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think he kind of surprised a lot of people. I think he was kind of expected to be the secondary man on the team and kind of just cruise through in that 6th to 10th place. But no, he's been ripping. So, it's cute to see how he ends up for the rest of the season. Yeah, I'll try to get on to Daka maybe at the next round and see what his thoughts are, because obviously, they want to win championships, but surely they've got to be pretty happy with how his season's going so far. He's been solid. He's been in that 4th and 5th position every race. So after 9 years off, that's a pretty good effort. No, absolutely. That's it's a ripper to see him come back and just jump into it so smoothly. All right, SX2. So Shane McElrath takes it out. In second place, the Moreton Bay Strangler, Brodie Connolly, with 3/3 for second overall. So that's a good result again for Brodie. He's obviously, as he said, he hasn't got a lot of Supercross experience. So each week he's ending up on the podium. You've got to be happy with that. What's he like at the test track during the week when you see him? Is he up with those boys, or is he sort of a bit hit and miss? Well, he's been training with the Beatons boys fairly flat out, so I haven't seen him too much.
but he looks good. Like, I mean, that man can ride a bike, so he's running with those guys. But I think you can definitely see like it takes him, 5 or 6 laps more to get everything dialed, to get fit. Like, I mean, those boys they pull up 3 laps in and they're dropping heaters, where I think he's just still finding his feet day in, day out and just picking up on the little things. So he's just growing, man. Like, I heard he's just been, training with Jed, like just absolutely learning and evolving and just getting better and better.
Yeah, I think what sort of is getting pretty overlooked with Brodie is the fact that it's his first ever Supercross season, and he's up there battling with the likes of Cole Thompson and Shane McElrath, like really established veterans of Supercross. So, man, I think in the years to come, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be as dominant in Supercross potentially as he has been in the Pro-MX.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I had the pleasure to race Brodie on an 85 in Supercross back in 2017, I believe, and man, like he was just a young kid swinging off it. But I think you could kind of tell from back then that he had good timing and was going to be a good Supercross rider. And then now that he's finally on one and training, it's not a surprise.
Well, he currently sits equal second with Cole Thompson in the championship, and they're only 7 points behind Shane McElrath. So this championship's like really, really heating up in the SX2 class, and like when you look at the standings for Wollongong, apart from those three, so Shane McElrath, Brodie Connolly, and Cole Thompson, pretty much everyone had a bad moto. So that's sort of what's setting those three guys aside is that consistency.
Yeah, no, exactly. They were all three of them. I think, if you looked up front, there was 3 Hondas going for it all weekend. So, yeah, those three are definitely, I feel like, the clear 3 out front, and then there's a little gap to another group of riders.
Yeah. Oh, well, you got Reed Taylor. He's got the speed. He just needs to keep it all together.
Same as Jace Cosford.
Yeah.
He, another really fast guy that just needs to try and put a whole weekend together.
Yep. Caleb Barham, he's up there. He was 5th at Wollongong. Yeah, Jace Cosford in 6th. Caden Mania. So I think he's got the potential to ride probably a lot better than he's been showing, except with his contract next year. I just don't think he's going to risk it at the moment. He's got heaps of good stuff coming up and heaps on the line. So I think he's just trying to do the laps, stay upright, and have solid results.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think he's got a bigger goal at mind, and I think he's still just learning his feet. Like when you think about it, he crashed out of round 1 last year. This is also his first Supercross season, so I think he's just learning heaps, kind of stay healthy, improve, just learn as much as he can before he. I think he's going back across the pond, is what the rumours are saying.
Oh, he confirmed that on the last show actually. So he's got a contract for 2025. So he's going to be doing the Supercross Futures, and then if that goes well, he'll be racing the whole outdoor Pro-MX season potentially as a pro. So that'd be pretty cool for him.
Yeah, that'll be a sick experience.
So just a couple of notable mentions before we move on. Sam Larsen, 10th on the 2-stroke. That's really cool. Yeah. Ty Keane, definitely a bit of a breakout performance in a couple of those races, especially in race 1.
Absolutely. Yes, he rode unreal.
Yep. Mackenzie O'Brien in 12th. He's leading the Privateer Championship at the moment, I think.
Yep. Yeah, and I got to ride with Mac yesterday.
Yeah.
He was on it. I mean, he's riding really well, which is awesome to see. Awesome to see him get some help out and some attention on the big screen.
Yep. Connor Adams, rough weekend, but definitely showed some speed. So, apart from ending up on the ground, he had some good speed. And some other guy in 15th overall, Zane Mackintosh. Do you know that guy?
Nah, no, I never heard of him. I heard he's a tosser, but I heard most people don't like him.
Yeah, funny, I've heard the same thing. It's just, but anyway, we'll...
No, he's always super negative in the pits, never talks to anyone, just...
Doesn't get pumped up. No.
Nah, never. No.
Doesn't pump the crowd up, doesn't slap his front fender, none of that stuff.
Nah, none of that. I heard he's never revved his bike after a moto, ever. Never.
That's a good result, mate. Good result. It's great to see your name up there.
Yeah, always good.
Yeah. All right. quickly, just SX3, Kai Woods, one of his hot, out of his hot and cold performances. Great to see him. He's had another hot one. He was, really, really good there. These guys obviously only did the one final. Kobe Hantis in second, Jack Byrne in third. Great to see Jack.
Yeah, he rode awesome all weekend, and he was where he had to be, and put it on the box.
Jake Cannon, fourth.
Bit of a throwaway in that last rhythm there. That was a mistake that I think haunted him for this week.
Yeah. So what happened there? I didn't actually see that.
Him and Byron Dennis had pretty much an identical crash. They just tagged one of those threes in that rhythm. I think just a small split-second fade, and then he ended up getting thrown out the front on the last rhythm. So after that last rhythm, so I think that one is kicking himself over that. But we all know how fast Jake is, so I think he'll be coming out to Adelaide swinging, really trying to prove he's that he should be on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, for sure. Well, he still sits third in the championship behind Kai Woods and Seth Burchall. And he's only 10 points back. And we saw in motocross, you can never count that kid out.
No, not at all. I think he'll definitely be, when the championship comes to a close in Melbourne, I think everyone will be looking his way. So, yeah.
That'd be cool. And, just last one up at Wollongong, Seth Burchall. So he's the red plate holder, ended up fifth. So probably not where he wants to be, but definitely a solid ride still and solid points.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There was he looks fast. I mean, we seen him in practice have a crack at those whoops 7 or 8 times and blow feet off, nearly blow a hand off. He was just so committed.
Yeah.
It was unreal.
Yeah, he said when I spoke to him on press day that he got a lot of confidence from those first 2 rounds up in Redcliffe. He wasn't expecting to be so dominant, and I think he said he had a few doubts, and that sort of just blew them away. So he knows where he should be and what he can do. So I think he's sort of ready to have a crack.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So and the last one, 85cc Cup, a bit of controversy with this one. Seth Thomas took it out over Richie Lawler and Nixon Darragh. So they were our top 3. Jack Nunn actually finished the final in second, but he was docked 2 positions for a penalty behind the start gate. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard there was something about it. I don't know the whole incident. I didn't see any of it. But yeah, I heard there was a little bit of a questionable call by some.
Yeah, so, well, it's, he quote, potentially modified the area in front of the start gate. So there was a bit of a kerfuffle over gate selection, and he ended up sort of missing out on the gate that he had picked, rightly or wrongly. I'm not sure sort of the story behind that too much, but he ended up on the far inside gate, and there was a big lump of dirt in front of the gate. And
where that berm built up, I believe.
Yep. And so as he took off on their sight lap, apparently he actually sort of went really slow or even stopped there and did a burnout through that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's against the rules, obviously, to modify the track in front of the start gate. Maybe he could have raised it with one of the officials and they could have done something about it. So,
just one of those things. I think we're a young kid, heat of the moment, with the racing in such front of a big crowd where you don't really think, and it costs you. But I think it's a mistake that I don't see him making again.
Yeah.
There you go. First through. Don't listen to Chad Reed.
He knows nothing.
Yeah. He knows nothing.
Yeah. I mean, for these young guys, as much as obviously championships at stake, and they've got to give it their all, and they invest so much, and their families invest so much. It's about learning. Yeah. So
exactly.
He's definitely going to come away from that learning. So last one, I just wanted to throw in here, mental moto guy, Connor Guillot. One of everyone's favourite riders. Great weekend, rode really solid, put it all together, ended up 6th. So that's a great result for Connor.
Yeah, no, we were pumped. That race we got on the line for our one of our 250 finals, and I reckon about half of our starting gate that knew him was going pretty ballistic for him when he was going over. So yeah, and it was awesome to see him riding so well.
And just one more question for you, Zano. Cooper Ford, do you know what's going on with him? So he ended up 9th up at Wollongong, but I mean, I think everyone was expecting him to be one of the championship favourites.
Yeah, no, good mate with young 40, young Coop, and Yeah, he was up there round 1 and 2. But I think on the weekend, I spoke to him and he said he got a bad start. And then a couple of times when he went to make moves, he kind of just, young kid being flustered in the moment, and ended up off track, and a couple of small things like that kind of escalated instead of keeping a level head. And by the time the race was over, he didn't really make any progress forward.
That's a shame. They'll be disappointed about that. I know he's pretty competitive, and I think they were expecting more. So he's got another couple of rounds to come out swinging. Yeah,
no, exactly. So hopefully he pulls his finger out and puts it back on that top step of the podium as the defending champ.
Yeah, no, it'd be definitely good to see him throw it up there with those front runners at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, we've got to let you go. Thanks heaps. You've actually called in from work, so it's been awesome to have you on the line, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. It's always good calling in and chatting with you. I always enjoy breaking down the race weekends and chatting shit, so no, it's always a pleasure.
Cheers. Thanks, Zane. So unfortunately, Zano's had to leave us a little bit early before we could talk about Adelaide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Elijah Weise a message, and hopefully we can get him on a little bit later on the show to have a chat about the Adelaide Supercross, because it's his hometown, and I'm sure he's going to have all of the inside goss. So before we get on to that, we've got a few riders lined up to speak to tonight. So we're going to have a chat to Connor Guillot from the CR22 85cc Cup. We're going to talk to the SX3 red plate holder, Seth Burchall. And we're going to talk to a bit of a cult sensation up at Wollongong. He was riding the two-stroke, Sam Larsen. So, to kick things off, let's get Connor Guillot on the line. Connor Guillot, mate, how are you going?
Yeah, good, thanks, Pete. How are you going?
Yeah, really good. Coming off the end of a super busy week after Wollongong, so it's nice to see some clear air ahead, I think.
Yeah, that's good for you then.
Yeah, for sure. What about yourself? How'd you pull up after the Gong?
Yeah, I was very, very pleased and happy with myself, how I rode. Figured that I was riding the best I was at the night.
Yep. So did you go straight back into training this week, or you just had school and other stuff going on?
And I went training down at Callum Orchard's place where we built a Supercross track yesterday for just a couple touches that should hopefully get me towards the front next round.
Oh, fantastic. So was Matho there? Because you obviously train with MX111.
Yeah, Matho couldn't make it this time, but we did go to his after, let him know what we were training on. And he just touched me up with a few things. Yeah.
So before we start speaking about Wollongong, you also raced rounds 1 and 2 up in Redcliffe. So, tell me a little bit about how those 2 days went up there.
Yeah, day 1 was pretty good. Ended up hitting all the jumps pretty early, so I was pleased with myself with that. Practice and qualifying, they were okay, but I knew that I didn't do my best in them. Then it came to the heat race, and both nights I stuck towards the front all the way through the heat race. And then Saturday night main, I was running 3rd or 5th around that area for the first couple laps, and then fortunately cased a double through a rhythm and ended up coming off, but came from the back up to 18th. And then pretty much after I crashed to catch back up, I was riding really good, and I was pleased with myself with how I was riding.
Yeah, fantastic. A lot of the riders have told me they struggled a little bit with the tracks up there. They said the traction was sort of a bit hit and miss sometimes, and there was lots of rocks in the dirt. Did you have any sort of issues like that?
Yeah, it was tough, especially before some rhythms. You could definitely feel your wheels just sliding up the face, so you had to make sure that you were getting the traction. Otherwise, especially right before the finish, you weren't going to make it. So traction was really important on those days.
Well, didn't look like we had any sorts of problems like that at Wollongong last weekend. That dirt looked pretty good. Was it? What were your thoughts on the track at Wollongong?
Yeah, it was great. It was track formed out awesome. It looked real good from the start, and as it did all night, it performed like the track performed well, and it held up nice with all the ruts and stuff that went into it. Didn't get overly rough, but definitely some challenging parts around the track.
Yeah, I asked one of the other 85 riders that I had on the podcast previously, but these tracks are obviously made for the big bikes. How do you find getting around and the rhythms on an 85?
Yeah, it's pretty tough, but it's not too bad just getting through the doubles and stuff. They're tough if you muck up your rhythm, but once you get a flow and you time all your stuff well, it's not too bad.
Yeah. What about the bigger jumps like the over under and the triple and the start finish line?
Yeah, the finish line was just hard to time because it was small, but you had such a big run up to it.
Yeah.
The over under was just at this as well hard to time, and the triple you had to hit that corner good, otherwise it wouldn't be too pretty.
Yeah, that was that actually looked like it was causing a lot of riders grief in the 450 class. Matt Moss, I saw him like he OJ'd it on the first green flagged practice lap by I reckon 4 or 5 meters and landed in the flats. A lot of the big bikes were over jumping, and then a lot of the 85s were looked like they were struggling a little bit to get over it.
Yeah, I cased it a couple times in the heat race. But in my practice, I didn't hit it till the last lap, and
Yep.
I thought it was much harder than what it was, and I ended up over jumping it a bit. So in those next, in the heat race and the main, I started figuring out what pace to hit it at and started hitting it much better.
Yeah, so what's your focus when you go out for practice and qualifying as far as the rhythms go and some of those big jumps? Like, are you trying to hit them as early as you can just to sort of get as much, I guess, as many goes at it before you have to do it in the heat of the moment? Or are you just sort of trying to ease into it nice and slow?
No, I'm trying to hit as much of the rhythms and the jumps as quickly as possible. That way, when qualifying comes, I know that I can put in the best lap I could at that time instead of going slowly, because if you get a bad qualifying lap, your start's not going to be too good for the heat. So trying to get all the jumps down packed nice and early, I found, is the more key important thing for the day.
Yeah, I can imagine that's got to be as much of a mental battle as it is like, a riding battle.
Yeah, when you're walking out there and you're looking at it from the side views and stuff, you think, oh, it's not going to be that bad, but it's much different when you're actually riding out there.
Yeah, so do you get a bit freaked out? I know a lot of the big boys even do. Do you get freaked out when you walk the track?
A little bit, but not too bad. My favourite bit is jumping when I'm riding on a track, so
Yep.
I find I don't freak out too badly, but it does scare me every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, the obstacles look pretty big when you're off the bike, that's for sure.
They definitely send you high, I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah. No, definitely. So talk me through your races at the Gong.
Yeah, so heat race was going phenomenal. I almost whole shotted, just drifted a little wide. Went to third and then started making a couple moves. Was in second, battling with third place, kind of trying to stick with the leader.
Yep.
And then unfortunately clipped the triple in the first rhythm and unsettled me for the next couple jumps. I ended up going over the bars.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that happened, but got back up, came from the back up to 8th, so still gave myself a pretty good gate pick for the main. And
Yep.
then in the main, had an awesome start from about 16th, 17th gate pick. Was in third to fourth for pretty much first half of the race, first 3/4 of the race, and the last couple laps started fading back a little bit, but held on to 6th place for the night.
Yeah, and so that's your best result in the Supercross yet, isn't it?
Yeah, both from this year and last year, my best result by far.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I think for you, speed has never been an issue. And this year, we've obviously we've spoken at a lot of the races, even the motocross races before the Supercross. This year's been a massive learning year for you, I think. Like I said, you've got insane speed, but pushing at 110% has sometimes resulted in a few mistakes. With that in mind, like, what's been your mindset and your goal coming into the Supercross season?
Lately, just trying to hit my marks. With both my motocross and Supercross, I found that me toning it down back to 85-90%, I'm only losing 0.5 to 0.3 of a second, but I'm crashing 100 times less. So that's been helping me out a lot more recently.
Yeah. So it's got to be hard now that you're sort of starting to get towards the pointy end, and I guess you are where you want to be, just to keep that focus going like that and focus on hitting your marks rather than racing. Is that a challenge, or is it just something that you're ready for?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. It's tough, but if you hit your marks and you're just riding the best you can, I find that's all you can do. Whatever the result comes out, that's the best you could do on that night.
Oh, fantastic, mate. So we're obviously going to see you racing the CR2285 Cup at the next couple of rounds. So, what's your thoughts coming into Adelaide? Have you had a look at the track map?
Yeah, I've been looking at the track map a fair bit, but as we've seen for the last couple of rounds, they're not always going to be exactly the same. So whatever the track turns out, if it is the same as the map, well, that's great that we've been able to do that. But whatever the track is on the day, that's what we're riding on, and the crew's put in a great effort all year for both of the tracks that they've done at Redcliffe and at Wollongong. So I can assure that they're going to make another great track at Adelaide next weekend. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. It looks like it's going to be a little bit smaller than the tracks we've had so far, so it might be a sort of 40-something second lap time for the big guys. But the other thing that might be a little bit different out there, looking at the format and the fact that it's running in time with the supercars. Yeah, so you guys are racing on the Sunday, I believe, qualifying on Saturday and racing on the Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I've seen as well, Pete.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing you out there again. I absolutely can't wait. And we've got some freshly printed posters here for the pit party for you as well. So, they've come up a treat.
Thanks heaps for that, Peter.
No, absolutely my pleasure, mate. Well, thanks for coming on for a chat, and I'll see you on the weekend.
No worries. It's been an honour. Thank you. See you then.
All right, my next rider on the line was a bit of a cult sensation up at Wollongong for riding the two-stroke. Welcome to the podcast, Sam Larsen.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on.
No, absolutely my pleasure. So, before we get into it, mate, how was your weekend up at Wollongong?
Man, it was really cool. So, got to drive down with Joel and Noel Ferguson, and we all jumped in the van, pinned it down to Wollongong. We didn't really know what to expect. Like as we were driving, I hinted, I was like, oh, it might rain. And then sure enough, as we got close to the stadium, what day did we get there? It was Friday, because we raced Saturday. So we got there the day before anyways. And as we were driving in, it started absolutely bucketing down. So I kind of looked at the boys and I'm like, oh, it's going to be a bit interesting. But yeah, it actually, it turned on. It was a really cool night. The track crew did a good job, and it was a big track.
Yeah, yep. So you raced the SX1 class last year on the 450. So what made the change for the two-stroke this year?
Yeah, so last year, obviously, like I said, getting to ride the 450 was cool. I'd honestly prefer that. I feel like the two-stroke thing's cool, but it's added another layer of a bit of a challenge. But yeah, it's all thanks to Zach. I used Zach at Kalana Motorcycles a fair bit just for parts and things like that.
Yep.
I popped in there one day and got chatting to him, and he just hinted the idea. He said, oh, we should do a Deegan replica like the two-stroke build that Deegan did. Oh, we should try and do that for Supercross. And I was like, yep, cool. Like a free bike's sick, and it'd be cool to have a bit of support. And yeah, it sort of turned from a bit of a joke into he actually put it together, and we ended up with a two-stroke under us this year. So, something different. It's definitely, every time I ride the thing, it puts a smile on my face. So, something different and makes it a little bit more challenging, I guess. But yeah, definitely worth it.
Yeah, is it scary? I mean, back in the old days, with two strokes, there was issues with them bogging and all that sort of stuff, which it made Supercross, pretty precarious sometimes. Like with the modern injected two strokes, is that still an issue, or is it like a lot easier these days?
So I'm still on a Weise 250, so it's still a carby fed one. But I was so young when I was on an 85, I don't remember ever jetting one, and pretty well I've been on four strokes ever since. So it was funny, like day one, I went out with Joel out to Nate Perrett's in Kingaroy. I rolled the bike out, so we did the jet this thing, and I didn't even know how to pull the carby apart. So it's been a learning experience for sure. To be honest, I've only had it bogged once, and I still don't really understand. I don't know why I did it. Like, it hasn't really done anything since. So, since sort of the day we got it set up, Zach sort of looked after, and it's been pretty good. But yeah, definitely, like I said, like lots of things to learn and take on this year.
Yeah. Well, they design the tracks now, obviously, for four-stroke, so you've got jumps like right in on corners and things like that. So, the torque of a four-stroke obviously has a massive advantage. Is that sort of hard to ride the two-stroke in the way that the power's delivered, or modern 250s are pretty good? So, do you notice like a massive difference compared to the 450 like that? Like, do you basically have to rail the outsides or change your riding at all?
Yeah, like you said, it's just the throttle response. Like, and especially I've done so much from a 450 now. Like, you know how they're going to react. You know what it's going to do. The first couple of weeks, I guess, on the two-stroke, I was terrified. The boys I wouldn't even jump the finish line doubles, to be honest. Like, I just didn't understand or sort of have that feeling for where the power was going to hit. So if you're like, I'm comfortable now, and it's pretty good now, but I guess it's just a new learning curve and something new to try and pick up. Yeah, it's funny, like I hopped back on, I got to ride Jesse Bishop's Honda 450 around the other day, just a couple laps of fun. And man, so easy. Go around, triple in, triples are easy. Like, it's just, cheating, because it's, the throttle response is just there. You know when it's going to hit. So
yeah. So is this your plan to ride this thing for the rest of the championship?
Yeah, absolutely. So the goal is we'll go all the way through to Melbourne. I don't know what next year's plan is, but for now it's just a Supercross deal. We're gonna try and ride the two-stroke the rest of it. We talked at the start. It would have been really cool to try and put it in both classes and try and line up in the 250 and the 450 class for Melbourne, but I don't think they'll let us ride one bike was the issue we're going to have. We need to try and find another one. Second two-strokes, yeah.
Well, you became a bit of a cult hero anyway up at Wollongong, and I imagine at Redcliffe. I didn't make it up to Redcliffe. Could you hear the crowd at Wollongong? Because they were going nuts every time you went past.
Oh, man. Like, to be honest, I couldn't hear anything when that pipe broke. It was so loud. But there were a couple of moments where you can really hear the crowd. One of the big ones, were you there at all in practice?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, did you see the moment in the whoop?
No.
No, it was like I started the whoops and started coming in and like not fast, but like trying to skim across a little bit. And then my thought was, they're going to break apart as soon as we go racing. I need to try a jump line.
Yep.
I came in, tire tap, triple, and then over jump into the face of that last one.
Yep.
Oh man, like both hands were off. The thing whiskied out from almost under me. Like, it was the biggest moment, and the crowd was losing it. Like, it was all just the industry people, but yeah, I could hear the people cheering just then. So.
Yep, I think I know the moment you're talking about. I didn't actually see it, but I heard the crowd, and I was looking around frantically, like, trying to figure out what was going on. And you definitely got the attention of all the spectators.
Oh yeah, that's like, and it's so cool. Like the fans, like just to hear them, I guess, is like a really cool thing. But just how much people have really got behind it. Like, Zach and I were talking at the start, and even Joel mentions, like, we weren't sure it was going to be as big a hit as it is, but you walk around the pits, everyone comes up like, oh my God, like, it's sick, I love you on two-stroke. Like, the engagement's been really cool. So
yeah, well,
definitely sort of well worth it.
Yeah, at Wollongong, it wasn't like the biggest crowd that we've ever seen, but and especially for it being an outdoor stadium, I reckon that was one of the most vocal crowds that we've had, in the last couple of years for Supercross. They were just so into it. Did you sort of find that or notice that at all, like as a rider?
Yeah, 100%. As I said, like we could hear them out on the track. But even like the engagement, just walking around the pits, like everyone was sort of stoked.
Yep.
Round one kind of gave similar vibes where like that first night there at Redcliffe was pretty cool. I guess round two, everyone was sort of a little bit more tired. It was a more sort of family-orientated night, I guess. It was a little bit more chilled out. But for the most part, like this year has been a lot better than years past, I believe. Like they've done a really good job at promoting it, and it's sort of got the fans are out and active. So I think everyone, they've done a really good job with it this year.
No, I totally agree. What do you think of the Triple Crown format? Did you dig it?
Yeah, it's a funny story with this one. So, like, I'm all for it. I love anything that a bit of fitness comes in. I feel like I'm pretty fit. But yeah, so like the first two, like obviously the first one I was in 8th and I was pretty stoked at that one. Moto 2 then went out and then the pipe broke in that first before we had the restart. So I sat on the line. I'm like, if I start this thing, they're going to like disqualify me. So I waited all the way until like 10 seconds to go and started it.
Yep.
Mind you, it had no power. Like haven't been the greatest starter, but yeah, that was one of the worst ones to date. So yeah, like the first two they were good. Happy with that. But then that in between period, like I noticed a lot of the boys got to sort of chill out and sit down. We had no rest. Like I had to run around frantically trying to find a pipe.
Yep.
So I had Levi from 547. He was my mechanic that weekend, and we were scratching our heads like, who do we actually like? No one rides the food truck anymore. Like, what should we do here? Then I had the thought, like the freestyle dude. There was a guy there on a Weise 250.
Oh, yep.
Ended up like running around the grandstand trying to find him. Ended up like finding him just in time to rip his pipe off and put it on my bike. But yeah, pretty well like on the line then, I missed my gate pick and I said to Elijah Weise, he was standing, I said, can you get me a bottle of water? I haven't even had a drink yet.
Oh, wow, yeah.
No rest. So it was good. Like it was a really cool format. It would have been probably a little bit nicer to get some rest and take it in a little bit more though.
Yeah, not that they. It sounds like they wouldn't have been able to find you, but did any of the officials, pin you at all for the pipe because that was so loud in that second race?
Yeah, I was a bit nervous. Like I haven't heard anything back yet, and I don't think I will. Like I think they were just stoked about the engagement and stuff. But as I said, like no one could find me in between that race. I was too busy running around. So. Yeah.
No. I mean, I don't think they would have penalised you anyway. They might have just said something, but especially if you had tried to go out in the third moto with it being the same.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I don't think anything serious would have happened for it. So, what was your actual goal coming into the year?
To be honest, I didn't know what to expect. It's just one of those things. Like I haven't done enough Supercross yet, really.
Yep.
And I tried to do it 1 year in 250s and ended up having injuring myself at round one. So it's my first real crack at like, okay, let's just make every round and be there.
Yeah, yep.
Beyond round one, like it was kind of, I don't know, the goal is now like being that top 15 to top 10, like especially now moving forward, like there's that many things going on in the class. Like it would be cool to sort of to be up there and sort of be in that privateer hunt and try and be inside that top 10 somewhere. But yeah, it's all just it's still learning. And with the two-stroke, it's an easy way to sort of get in and use it as a learning experience, I guess. So
yeah. Well, as we sort of said, you raced SX1 last year. What's your Supercross experience before that?
I tried to do a year on the 250.
Yep.
And yeah, chain broke it was the year that Melbourne was round one.
Oh, yeah.
And a chain broke on an up ramp and I had a big one and broke my neck.
Oh, shit.
That was in practice. Like I raced all night with the broken neck, but yeah, I then had to sit on the sideline for a couple of months, so I didn't make any of the other rounds.
Oh, that's hardcore, man.
Yeah.
That's really hardcore.
Yeah, so like last year it was sick. Like just ride the 450 and really gel with the 450. So yeah, it's cool just to, I don't know, Supercross has got its own little vibe, I guess. Like myself, Joel, Jesse, there's a crew of us that all had a mad time.
Yeah.
So it's just different. I mean, motocross is sort of a grind where Supercross is a bit fun. So
it's like a rock concert for motocross, isn't it? It's it's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you guys are the superstars.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like it's way more relaxed. Yeah, even like the training side, like we've all been enjoying that. Like I got a track at mine and like water it up the night before, and we're sort of on bikes at. We always say on bikes at 7, but Joel and I run a pretty relaxed program.
Yeah.
So you're on bikes pretty early and you're sort of done before it gets too hot. So yeah, Supercross been cool.
Yeah, unreal. So what were your thoughts on the venue and the track at Wollongong, and how would you sort of compare it to the tracks that we've raced over the last couple of years?
I think they did a really good job. Like this year, the tracks themselves have been a little bit longer. They seem so far to be more consistent. Like rounds from the regular round to this round, like that, like a really similar sort of style.
Yep.
Where in years past, like you'll go to one that might be really sharp, and the next one's a little bit more mellow. Like they're all pretty consistent so far. So, and venue, like that was unreal. Just to have like the big stadium there with the one side open to the beach. Like it was a really cool sort of vibe just to be there.
Yeah, definitely.
I think so far, like, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Adelaide, being that we're with the V8 supercars and in a big sort of open area, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like it's a soccer pitch there. So I think there's a stand on one side, and then I imagine there'll be, just standing room around the other sides, unless they build another sort of temporary stand on one of the other sides. But it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at the track, like Joel pointed out, they've put some sand on the base instead of the ply this time. So
yep,
I know it might be a really cool little track where when we start to break through, it's not going to bring up little death plates of ply. So
yeah,
and they were so slippery. I got bitten by one of those in practice. Yeah,
at Wollongong.
Yeah, like I went off the side of the track. I made a little mistake, blew off and rode on the fly and dropped it.
Yeah,
it's so slippery.
At Adelaide, the track map looks like it's probably a little bit smaller than the tracks we've seen at Redcliffe and Wollongong. So it's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what we get over there and what the lap times are. What lap times were you running at Wollongong?
To be honest, I have no idea. I had a look. I obviously had a look on the night, but I have no idea. So I haven't do that much riding and that much different stuff that I couldn't actually tell you.
Yeah, I think they were in the 50s though, weren't they?
I want to say, it was like the slower guys were around the one. It was the 50 mark, 50 range, I guess. Yep.
Taking the two-stroke over to Adelaide, what are your thoughts on the sprint race format? I think we've got 6-minute motos. Actually, even for you guys, it might be in SX2, it might be 5-minute motos. What are your sort of thoughts on that format with the 4 starts and the 2 races back-to-back?
Is that okay? It means, we didn't really know what the deal was there yet. Look, Joel hasn't even entered yet. I just found out today. Like more gate drops, I'm keen for it. The shorter motos just mean less separation. So whether or not, I don't know whether that was why there were more injuries and things going on at the previous round, just being that there were 3 starts. But I don't know, I enjoyed it. I had fun, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it just gives us an opportunity to sort of be up there and not break away as much. So.
You talking to someone else? Or?
No, sorry, that's Joel. He's just going to his race. You're up, so are you? Okay. I'll just say you. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're all right. You got a bit going on over there at the moment. You're might as well say for the listeners, you're over in the Philippines at the moment. So what do you got going on?
Yeah, so this is a sort of a program that I guess Joel's been on for a little bit, and we're good mates, and we train and ride that much together that I got the opportunity to come over and do one of them with him. I guess it was last year or the year before. And then with that, like the crew over here is like Kurt, and there's a bunch of mechanics and people involved in Team Good Boy that they all sort of enjoyed having us all over. So it's sort of progressed from there to at the moment we're doing this like a 3-round Asiatic Championship. I'm sure everyone saw the clip of me front flipping over the double. That was round 1. Unfortunately, didn't make that. And then that was round 1 and 2. This is now round 3 and 4. So it's like a 2-day format.
Yep.
Unfortunately, again, I was in Superpole, was in the middle of a good lap. I got a 1 lap down, and then I was on my second heater, and I got a flat tire up an up ramp, and the bike pretty well frisbeed out from under me up over a jump. I had to jump off the thing. I'm okay. I just haven't been able to line up this weekend, so it's unfortunate that I haven't been able to race this time. But yeah, we're all good.
So you're just saving yourself for Adelaide?
Yeah, just trying to stay fit and healthy. At this point, I'm sweet, so we'll fly home and start driving down there.
No, fantastic. So when do you fly home?
Oh, sorry. We literally this afternoon we fly home and we're jumping straight in the van to start driving down.
Yep.
I think I'll just see Joel and I. We're gonna drive his van down and just sort of split the driving up. The plan at this stage, we'll try and make it as far as we can in the next 2 days, and then try and ride somewhere down there before we head across to the racetrack.
So what are the tracks like over there? Is that going to help you at all?
Honestly, it could have. They've got big jumps, super hard packed and baked. Yeah, riding a bike, and this is like a new skill, so it's definitely it would help. The only difference for me, I guess, would be from the 2-stroke to while we're over here, I'm on a 4-stroke.
Yep.
So in that regard, it's probably not super helpful, but yeah, as I said, riding a bike, and it's still a slippery, dry track. So. And
I just had one more question for you. So, unlike a lot of the other guys that are lining up in the Australian Supercross, I believe you're a dad as well.
Yes, I could talk about this all night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so I've got a little daughter, little Eden. She's 18 months old, going on 19 months old. Yeah, she's a weapon. I love her. I see her sort of 2 days a week in between. That's my priority at the start of the week. I sit down and whatever days I've got with her, I plan the week around that.
Yep.
And then, I train and do everything else around that. She's only been to the track, I guess, twice now, but she's an absolute weapon. She loves it. She's got those little balance spikes that she sends, and she's so funny.
Yeah, I think you had her at MX Farm. Is that right?
Yeah, she was there at the farm cruising around. So they're playing in the future. Like we'll as she's a bit older now, she'll hopefully you guys will get to see her at the races a little bit more. But and then one day maybe she'll be able to bike racing around. But we'll see.
Oh, that's so cool. Has being a dad changed your attitude or your approach towards your own racing at all?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I even I had to think about this just after the crash just gone. Like that big crashes now scare me more than they used to, 100%. But it just kind of makes you take in the moment, like literally just be there, be present. Don't get too far out of yourself. Because I don't know, it kind of gives a little bit of perspective. Like there's a bigger picture here, and I love racing dirt bikes, but we got to do it and be safe. And then it kind of makes you grow up a little bit, I guess. So it's definitely changed my perspective and outlook on the whole thing. Still love it. We'll still keep racing, and that's still the dream. But just can't be too dumb anymore. Got to be a little bit smart with it all.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good approach, whether you're a dad or not. But definitely it broadens your perspectives, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, there's way more to life than, as much as we don't like to say, there's more to life than dirt bikes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's been an absolute blast having you on the line, Sam. I'd love to have you on again, and I look forward to catching up with you at Adelaide.
Yeah, no, awesome. Thank you. And it's a really cool opportunity. I just want to quickly say a thank you too. With racing the nationals and stuff, being a privateer, it's pretty hard to get content.
Yep.
So as soon as I started clicking on and seeing that you guys did content and a couple of photo packages and stuff, I think it's really cool what you guys do just to help the privateers out. So I want to give a thank you and a shout out to you guys. Yeah, it's really cool just to have that opportunity at a professional level to still get some photos and some stuff done at the races. So you guys do an awesome job.
No, thank you.
And thank you for getting us in the podcast. I haven't done one of these before, so it was really cool just to sit down and have a chat.
No, thank you, Sam. Like I said, anytime, mate. And I think I enjoy being out there taking photos as much as anyone else out on the track that's riding. Yeah. So I'd love to keep that going for years to come. So we'll keep it going.
Yeah, and you got some crackers too. Some of them have been really cool this year.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
No, my pleasure, mate. It's not too bad a gig. I get to be at the races, and then afterwards I'm sitting in front of the computer looking at cool photos of riding. So it's definitely it's definitely not the worst job in the world, that's for sure.
No, that's awesome.
No, easy done. Well, thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your time over in the Philippines, and have a safe trip down to Adelaide.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll see you down there.
Cheers. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
Okay, our last rider on the line for this episode is the SX3 red plate holder, Seth Burchall, or as JT likes to call you, Burchall. How's it going?
Good, mate. Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, mate. I'm pretty good. I think Burchall sounds way more fancy, so you going to run with that now?
No, yeah, I guess so.
That's bit of an honour anyway. It was good having JT over here on press day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awesome to see it. I think it's good for Australian Supercross. Much bigger this year than last year. Got him and also Brayton in the booth at the last round. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they've been doing a fantastic job, and I think Brayton's back for the next two rounds. So he definitely adds a lot to the telecast.
That's right. Yeah, a bit more excitement as well. So it's good.
Yeah. So what's been happening since round 3?
Very much the same as round 1 and leading up to round 1 as well. Just working and training on and off the bike. Yeah, nothing too special. Bit of the same thing.
Yeah. So unlike a lot of the SX3 guys, you've finished up with school and you're working now. What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm part-time doing an apprenticeship in cranes as a dogman.
Oh, yep.
So if you don't know what a dogman is, I guess the easy way to explain it is I'm on a walkie-talkie to the crane operator telling him what to do, I guess, when he can't see.
Oh, that's cool. How long have you been doing that for?
I've been doing that for a bit over 2 years now, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, you enjoy it, obviously?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's not too hard on the body, so I'm not dead when I'm finished work. I can go for a bit of ride after work. So, yeah, it's always good.
Yeah. Would you prefer to make a living racing dirt bikes?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's always the goal.
Yeah.
It doesn't really feel like a job when you race.
I can imagine, mate. That'd be the dream. So you won your heats and both your finals at rounds 1 and 2 and went into Wollongong as the red plate holder with a pretty commanding lead. The points gap at Wollongong got chopped down a bit, but you still hold the red plate with 2 rounds to go. So, talk me through your weekend at Wollongong.
Well, it started off well. I was 4th in qualifying, which is all right for me. I haven't always been the best qualifier. Takes me a little while to get used to a track and gel with it, but I was pretty up with it, and I wasn't too much off the pace of the leaders. And the heat started off well, got the whole shot, and led the first 2 or 3 laps with Cannon behind me. And Cannon pulled out a triple in one of the rhythm sections. That was a big game changer. It was a good second there, and I actually didn't know he was hitting it. And he ended up making the pass, and I went to cut down and on him as soon as he made the pass, and I just lost the front on the flat right-hand turn for the triple. And after that, I don't know, I was a little banged up, and for the rest of that heat race, just made a lot of mistakes and wasn't riding like myself, I guess. And unfortunately, I feel like that may have played a big factor in the main event.
Yeah.
Because that little crash just threw me off in the main, and just got off to a bad start and sort of just stayed there. A bit hard to pass. I was 5th, but then was right behind 4th, and made a mistake off the track and lost all the ground there. And that was sort of the end of me night there, because we have some short races. It wasn't a triple crown for us, so we only have a 7-lap main, so not a lot of time to make passes and make ground, especially when everyone's doing the same rhythms. It's hard to make ground. So, yeah, it wasn't my best performance at Wollongong, but just looking to move forward for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I've got a question about the format for you in a second, but before we get to that, there was a lot of mistakes. There always is, with the SX3 class. I think a lot of you guys are, you're learning your craft and you're perfecting your craft. Up at Wollongong, with a lot of the chaos that was happening and a lot of these mistakes that a lot of riders were making, not just yourself. What do you put that down to? I've heard a lot of the riders talking that it was pretty dark, so it was hard to see some of the track. Would you put it down to the actual track design? There was a lot of 90s, which is, I think, one of the reasons it might have been pretty hard to pass. But what's your thoughts on that?
It was a much more technical track than Redcliffe. The whips were they were smaller than Redcliffe, but they were very techy. There was a line where everyone was doing 3-3-3, and I feel like that was the line, and I just couldn't get my head wrapped around it. I couldn't do it in the main. And I feel like I lost a lot of time there where the top runners were doing that. That was a bit of a separator from the leaders to the backpackers. So, yeah, other than that, everyone was sort of doing the same rhythms. So, yeah.
So who do you see as your biggest rival in the SX3 class now? There's a lot of riders. You guys are mixing it up a lot, but Kai Woods definitely, he showed he's someone to contend with as well on the weekend.
Yeah, it's different every weekend. I feel like whoever gets a good start is a contender, really, because it's obviously a short race. Yeah, Cannon, Kai, obviously, and Kay Kingsford, he's a very quick rider. Always got to watch out for him, and also Hannes and a few other riders. If they get good starts, they can run up there.
So what do you think the key's going to be for you in terms of hanging onto the red plate until the checkered flag in Melbourne? What's your focus going to be for the next couple of rounds?
Just hitting my marks and the starts, because starts are definitely key. That's your first race. That's obviously the part of the racetrack, the race you can make your most passes in. So the starts is key, and hitting my marks. And doing my also.
Yeah, you already mentioned with Wollongong that you guys only raced a single final, whereas the SX2 and SX1 classes, they had a triple crown. Would you have liked to have seen a triple crown for the SX3 class?
100%. That would be awesome. And I also they get points every round, each race. Sorry, it wasn't like a total round points, so there was a lot of points to make up there. So it could have been good or bad for me, but it would be good. Yeah.
Well, that was actually a a really common misconception, because I was also under the same impression. But at the end, they actually knocked it all back. So Joey Savacci walked away with 25 points for the round. So he got 66 points.
Oh, right.
Yeah, across the 3 races. But then they brought it all back to a standard point scoring for the round.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah. Well, that's what they did at Newcastle last year. And like everyone that I interviewed, even on the TV telecast, they were talking about like 75 points being up for grabs. But it was actually in the sup-regs that it's 25 points around and that's it. So it all got knocked back to standard point scoring. So Joey's currently on 66 points for the championship, I think. So
Right, yeah. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, so did I. And to be honest, I kind of like it when it's like that, because it turns it into a 7-round series, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's like I went to the stands after my race and watched it all. It's very intense, especially the back-to-back races. They don't have really much of a break, so they're still all got the adrenaline pumping in them. So it's always good to watch, and it's good racing.
Yeah, have you seen the format for Adelaide yet for you guys?
I have. I think it's the same. I actually heard we have 2 finals. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, you do. You've got 2 7-minute finals, which are back-to-back,
Right.
so with a 5-minute break, and that's on the Sunday.
Yeah, okay. Right. Yeah, I heard that a few days ago, actually. Yeah, right. That's good to know.
Yeah, do you think that'll suit your riding style?
Well, we haven't really done that before, so I don't know till obviously we do it. We do it at the track. We do back-to-back motos. We don't get a break. So it should be good as long as I just do the same, just get me starts dialed, and I should be fine.
Yeah, so speaking of sort of your midweek riding, who do you train with and what does your program look like?
It's different every time I ride. It's not a very set program. It's not the same track every time. Do some riding with Matt Moss and names like Gil Mills and Nathan Crawford and names like that. Sometimes I do ride with Kai Woods up at Newcastle area as well, and SX2 rider Ben Novak as well. So yeah, it's different every time. We ride different tracks, so I feel like it's pretty good like that.
Yeah, a lot of the other riders are part of like big established programs like say the 00 Elite and the Beaton's Pro Formula. Do you train with a regular crew like that, or do you have a riding coach?
Yeah, so sometimes we do a bit of riding with Craig Anderson. He's a big help in my riding. Big help. He's very knowledgeable. He's obviously been there, done that. He's very good to have in my corner as well. So before this year, what was your previous Supercross experience? I did 2 rounds last year. I missed the first round. I didn't come as prepared into last year as this year. Obviously, with WBR this year, they play a big factor with my bike and motor and suspension. That plays a big factor. Feel like I got a lot more speed than last year, and obviously Craig Anderson, he's helped me a lot. Also, I wasn't riding Supercross with him last year, and training with Matt Moss and Wilsey and stuff like that is you always watch what they're doing, learning every day off them. So they got many years behind them.
Experience,
so, yeah.
Well, it's obviously the goal, but did you see yourself holding the red plate at all during the series, before the series started?
Well, no, not really, actually. I just planned on getting podiums at the first Red Cliff, the first 2 rounds, and just leaving there with some points, good points, and just trying to build some momentum from there. I didn't expect to go 1-1 and leaving with a good points lead like that. It's a dream start, and just looking to keep it. There's only 2 more rounds to go, and obviously there's 2 races at Adelaide, so anything can happen. I'm just looking forward to Adelaide next weekend.
Yeah, I think we were sort of chatting briefly on press day about that. I think in the SX3 class, consistency is key. You don't have to win every round, but if you can be consistent and upright and sort of towards the pointy end, I think that's going to pay dividends by the end of the championship.
Yeah, that's right. Anything can happen. As I was looking before, there's 5 points between third and first, and there's points to be made up quickly and lost as well. So good starts and being consistent is definitely key to winning championships. Yeah, just looking forward to next weekend.
Yeah. one last question. You mentioned the WBR bulk nutrients squad before. You've got a pretty competitive bunch of young riders under that tent. What's the vibe like on race day?
It's good. We're all very competitive. We all want to win. It's not too much talking going on between races and leading up to races, but it's good. We give each other room and space. So yeah, it's a good team to be around. The team owners, Travis and Nathan, they're a good bunch of guys, and love riding for them.
So next year, I think you're stepping up to SX2 and MX2. So what's your goals for next year, and have you got a deal lined up yet? As
of next year, nothing's planned at the moment. No plans, no contracts next year at the moment. Just focus on this year and just trying to get a championship, and then we'll go from there. As of next year, look, if I don't get a ride, I probably won't be riding because it will all be on me, money-wise, and can't really afford that on apprentice wages. So it's difficult, but it is what it is. Just makes me more hungry to win and prove all these teams I'm capable of an MX2 ride. And that's sort of what I'm racing for at the moment as well this year. Well,
the way that you're riding, I think you're definitely making a statement that you're one of the fastest young prospects in the country. So I can't imagine that you'll be without a ride next year. So good luck for the rest of the championship, mate. And I look forward to catching up with you in Adelaide.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. I thought I'd get one more guy on the line. Elijah Weise, mate. How are you going?
We're going good, mate. We're somewhat in one piece from last weekend and sort of getting the bike straightened out and ready to go again here shortly.
Oh, fantastic, mate. Well, the next round's at Radelaide, and you are an Adelaide local, so I thought it'd be a great way to finish this show, and we can talk a little bit about the upcoming round. But to start off, you sort of touched on it already, but how was your weekend at Wollongong?
Lack of weekend, you could say. It was a bit of a bummer. Had a pretty decent one in the first heat race, and that obviously ended my night pretty early. So, a bit of a bummer to go that way and have it end like that. Leading up to the heat race, I wasn't, I was feeling decent and sort of taking my time to get into it as I always do. And then heat race is obviously in a qualifying position again, and then just, stupid little mistake in the main rhythm and sent me flying and did a front flip, and sure, it looked pretty spectacular and didn't feel too great, but a bit of a bummer, but I guess that's racing.
Yeah, what do you put it down to? Was it the track or just a bit of human error? Or
no, it's just me. Honestly, I have about 3 days on a Supercross track, outside of racing this season so far. So I'm just not quite where I need to be, and it was just a silly little mistake. I went a little long on the 3 prior to the next 3, and just didn't get the pop I needed off the second one and clipped it. And I'm just, like I said, I'm lack of bike time. I'm just not quite, it's not quite coming as naturally as it would, if you have a decent preseason. And I think, when you get in a race situation, you sort of tend to rush things, or you get in that race zone. And I'm just, like I said, I'm not quite there yet.
You're not quite gelling yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I sort of take all day to get somewhat comfortable, because I'm riding, like I said, maybe once a week. I rode once from Brisbane to Wollongong, so that was once in 2 weeks. So I'm not comfortable, and it takes me kind of all day to get going. And unfortunately, my day got ended before I could even get going. So
what a bummer.
It's a bit of a bummer. But luckily, we got out of it pretty okay for how big it was.
Yep.
Got a bit of a sore wrist, and the bike was probably worse than I was. So, straighten that out and go again in Adelaide.
Yeah. So did you race rounds 1 and 2?
Yeah. We headed up to Redcliffe and got through those 2 rounds. The double header actually pretty good. Like I said, I had sort of surgery on my arms about a bit under 4 weeks out of the first round. So my prep was 2 days on a bike previous to Redcliffe, which was the week before. And, we've got a decent setup, but it's kind of we just, Cruise Tune did me a base Supercross setting, and we've run that. And so I didn't have much time, and we headed to Redcliffe. It was kind of a bit touch and go. I was kind of, maybe thinking I might not even go to Redcliffe, but after sort of the 2 days I had on the bike, I was like, well, we'll go give it a crack. And
baptism by fire.
I've done it before. I'm going to, do it again. And I actually got through decent. Like the Saturday at Redcliffe was good, and I had, some okay starts, and, sort of was running in the top 15 for, most of the mains, and then just didn't have the laps in me and faded a bit, So it was quite a positive start for how little bike time I've had. So, like after Redcliffe, I was actually, a little, sort of quietly confident, and then, and then Wollongong happened and kind of knocked me down a bit. But it is what it is. So we'll just, make and do with what we got.
Oh, for sure. You mentioned you had a surgery a few weeks before Redcliffe. Was that injury related, or what was that about?
No, it's not injury related. It's basically a repetitive strain injury called chronic compartment syndrome. I've had it before when I was about 19. It's just obviously from, I guess, overuse of your muscles in my forearm. Some people get it, some people don't. I'm just lucky, I guess. But they basically just go in and release a lot of pressure on your forearm muscles. And it's not, a lot of people sort of think it is the arm pump surgery. It's a little different. It does obviously help with arm pump, but before the surgery, I could maybe do 1 or 2 laps and then that was it for the day. Like my arms would pump up and then just stay pumped up and numb hands and, pins and needles in my hands. So, it's actually pretty sucky to deal with because, you're trying to, I tried to race a few nationals throughout the year and obviously I would have liked to do more, but dealing with this, I remember at Murray Bridge, I got literally to the end of second lap and that was all I had, and I'm not an unfit bloke. I train off the bike and try and ride. And so it's been, it's pretty frustrating to deal with. So unfortunately, just time frame, I couldn't get it done any earlier. And that was, the soonest I could get it done. And it just all was a bit of a rush, but, we're on the mend now. It's sort of getting better every week and hopefully by Melbourne, it should be, pretty normal.
So was there any sort of residual effects from the surgery at Redcliffe? Like, because that's only, I think you said 3 weeks out.
Yeah, I think it was like 3.5, 4 weeks out from Redcliffe. So there was like even now, like my grip strength's not 100%, still a little weak. Like obviously, the weeks after surgery, I couldn't train obviously any upper body or anything like that. Yeah. So you basically, hands, you couldn't use my arms for 2.5 weeks, and then sort of at the 3.5 weeks or 3 weeks mark, I tried to ride and. So my grip strength is not quite there. And then obviously just lack of bike time, I think, is the biggest thing for me right now. And, it's a bit sucky because I know that, I know I can ride a bike, somewhat decent, but sort of get to a race and you're behind the 8 ball, everyone's sort of riding 2-3 times a week. And I'm just sort of, sitting here watching everyone ride. I can't really ride. So, but like I said, I'm not, pity party, but it's, it just is what it is and we'll make the best of it.
Yeah. Before we move on to Adelaide, what are your thoughts on the tracks we've had so far? Like normally, with championships, you see the first track or the first couple of tracks, so you sort of ease into it. But we've had like full-size soupy tracks, for the first 3 rounds. They've all been close or just over 50-second lap times. What are your thoughts been on the tracks?
Oh, I've honestly enjoyed the tracks. Apart from like Redcliffe dirt, wasn't ideal. Sort of pretty rocky dirt and whatnot, but I think the layouts themselves have been really good. Some technical rhythms, some big lines that guys can do if they want to pull the trigger on it. And so, as overall, like layout wise, I think they've been sick. Obviously, Wollongong was amazing because the dirt was like probably some of the best dirt I've ever raced on a Supercross track here in Oz. So, I think that made Wollongong track really, really good with how good the dirt was. So, I think they've done a really good job of keeping the tracks to close to full spec, obviously SX, pretty close, but also still, they're raceable, they're rideable sort of, from first through to 20th, they're pretty good tracks. So, I've enjoyed the track and, it'll be interesting to see what Adelaide brings. And I think it'll probably be a little tighter or on the tighter side. So I guess we'll just wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the tracks being a little tamer, like I think they've been pretty fantastic, like from a fan point of view. And I was all about that. I was saying that sort of last year. And I think, after they changed the whoops up at Redcliffe for the second round, I actually think it made the racing so much better. It bunches everyone up. It lets the Aussie guys compete and everyone's racing the same track. So
Yeah.
I don't agree with building a track that just benefits the fastest, best guys. Like it's great to have a track that everyone can ride and race.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. And that whole the Whoop debacle, I guess you could say, at Redcliffe, got pretty blown out of proportion. I think, here in Australia, like I think there's someone said we've done like 9 Supercrosses in the last 7 years.
Yep.
Overall. So when you sort of put that into perspective, like we're not at the level of what, say Dean, or sorry, not all of us. Like there are obviously some Aussies that are at that level, but as a whole,
collective,
80%, we're just not at that level of, Dean Wilson and Joey and those guys. And I don't think we need to be catering everything for the track to 2 or 3 guys each class.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the rest of the track has been fine. It's whatever. It probably more comes down to the Whoops, what they're sort of trying to get at. But, like you said, on the Sunday at Redcliffe, the Whoops got tamed down and, Cloudy got a main win and there was a lot closer racing, and I know that Uribe probably doesn't like that with the Honda boys because, he's got 1 and 2 in the championship and he probably wants the biggest gap possible. But as a spectator, that's what you want to see. And
100%.
Wollongong was, really good close racing too. There was like pretty much come into the last main of the Triple Crown with a winner take all. That's what you want to see. And the Whoops were big, but they ended up being jumpers. So then that evens it back out. So yeah, I think basically what they've done with the track so far, bar the Whoops probably at the first round, have been suited or, well suited to a lot of the Aussie riders. And I think that's what we need to do is build the Aussie riders here and build the series here. And if Americans want to come over and do it, don't cater necessarily just to those few riders.
I'm totally in agreement. And I mean, the good guys will find a way to create that separation. I mean, they were, including the Aussies, they were uncorking that quad, which was massive. That was so awesome to watch. And man, that's what it's all about,
Yeah. And it obviously will progress our Aussie riders too, because, you start having tracks that we can, be on that level of the US dudes. You start riding, you start racing with those guys, you're learning from them where, if we were to go race on a full US spec track with those guys, we wouldn't see them.
Yep.
We'd be gone. They'd be gone. So you're not going to learn anything from them. So, and I'm not saying, obviously, this is not, about me because they're always way far ahead of me. But, for those top 5 Aussie guys, I think it's going to benefit them a lot too. But yeah, I'm not saying the tracks have been tamed by any means because they haven't, but I think they've done a really good job with how they've gone about making these tracks.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I completely understand what you're saying. Like, I don't think they've, certainly from I'm not the one riding them, but they definitely haven't looked tame. It's just been, they haven't been crazy, and they don't need to be. Yeah. I mean, even if you look at the American Championship, not every track is like super techie, and I think the goal was sometimes to make ours as technical as the most technical ones over there, and I think that's the sort of, the wrong approach, but they've nailed it this year.
Yeah, no, they've done a really good job. And even as a series whole, like just the promotion, the way the events are run, like everything has been so, like I honestly can't fault much at all with the whole overall package. It's been so good, and even with Wollongong, I can't even begin to like imagine the actual logistical nightmare to get the track in and out and the pits and everything like that with that stadium, because that's, it's not an easy stadium to hold a Supercross at. And, from everyone rider-wise, it went off, pretty flawlessly. So they've done a pretty good job, and they've got their hands full with this Adelaide round as well. So they're making it hard for themselves, but they're doing a good job.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, You've already moved in that direction, so let's have a little bit of a chat about Adelaide. Have you had a chance to look at the format yet?
Yeah, I've briefly had a look. I know that it's going to be pretty hectic with the schedule, but I mean, it's sort of spread out over 3 days. So it's going to be something new, I think, for Aussie Supercross. But yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty full on. Yeah.
So for the listeners that aren't aware, it runs over 3 days. It's pretty much a daytime program every day, and it's in conjunction with the Velo 500 Supercar Series, which is going to be really cool in its own right because I think last year over the 3 days they had 260,000 people at that event, which is it's going to be a lot of new eyes on Supercross. So that's a really cool opportunity, and you know I can't even imagine what the logistics behind making that all align has been. But yeah, for the listeners, so on the Friday, you've got SX1 and SX2 qualifying and the heat, and then Superpole. And then on Saturday, SX3 and CR2, CR22 Cup qualifying, and the SX1 and SX2 main events. And then on the Sunday, we've got the SX3 and 85 main events. So, it's going to be really cool. It's a little bit different. So for you guys, for the big boys, for SX2 and SX1, you're running 4 mains like sprints, and I think they're 6 minutes, so maybe 7 laps. And there's 2 back-to-back and then a half an hour break and another 2 back-to-back. So as a rider, mate, what's that going to be like?
I mean, for someone like me who doesn't have much bike time, it's going to be a struggle. You know, like we did a double header in Redcliffe, and even in Redcliffe, you know, we did 10 laps or 11 laps, what it was, and we had maybe 45 minutes or something in between. To me, it felt like I was back into the pits, you know, have a drink, and then you're back out. So this is going to be, like I said, something we've never really done before here in Oz. And like for me, it's basically, I mean, first of all, just get through the heat to get into the mains. But, you know, in the mains, it's going to be have a good first one, you know, get through the second one, and then try and survive the next 2. So it's going to be chaos. Like, you know, we saw it at the Triple Crown in Wollongong a bit with just the amount of chaos. Obviously, with that many starts, there's, you know, is just more chance of something going on. So it's going to be fast paced. It's going to be stressful, and you know, you got to get off the line pretty dang good, because in that short of a race, like, you know, it could be really good or it could be really bad. You know, you could get a few, you know, privateer guys or guys that aren't sort of in that top 5 mark, get a good start and, you know, hold in there for 7 laps. So, you know, it could work out really good for, you know, some riders who might not have been up there in the past, and it's going to be hectic.
Oh, definitely. It's going to be crazy. I mean, it's like a quadruple crown, really, at the end of the day. You've got 4 starts and short races. So as far as the race format goes, with those 4 races being 6 minutes, so it's a total of, 24 minutes on track for you guys. Is that, like, does fitness come into play at all? Because you're going to be sprinting, I imagine. Like, is that like a different dynamic to sort of trying to pace yourself over a conventional 20-minute final?
Yeah, I honestly think like it's harder to because it's like you said, it's a sprint race. It's such high heart rate, you know, like, and so you're off the start and you're just spiking the heart rate basically all 6 or 7 laps, and then, you know, you got to turn around and do it again, and you know, most guys, I feel like if you're going to sort of get arm pump, it's always going to be within that first little bit of the race, and then you can, you know, if it's a conventional main event, sometimes you can sort of, you know, have a bit of a breather mid-moto, or you can find a bit of a groove and sort of work through it, whereas this is just no time. So I think probably a lot of the riders will say that these sprints are harder than a full, you know, 20-lap main event. So yeah, it's pretty hectic. Like I said, we've never really done it before, so I guess we'll see. But I mean, for someone like me with minimal bike time, it's definitely going to be a struggle. But look, we'll take on the challenge and see how we go.
With the motos being so close together too, and the multiple starts, does like clutch heat come into it like off the start? Is that going to be an issue?
Yeah, I definitely think, like, I mean, 450s aren't too bad. Like, if you're destroying a clutch in a 450, you're either really not good at using your clutch or your Eli Tomac. Oh. So, so 450s probably shouldn't be too bad. Like, they obviously do get heated up. It's get hot. And I guess it depends on the weather as well. But I know for sure that you'll be winding your free play out a lot in that second moto for that start. I think we might see a lot of 250s struggle with it too.
Yep.
Because, you know, those 250s are running on the edge of, you know, performance, and they get hot. They get so hot. And obviously in a Supercross, you don't necessarily get the speed up like you would in motocross to get, you know, cool air on it. You know, it's quite slow pace compared to motocross. So, yeah, I think, just, the factory teams obviously will have it. Will probably have fans or, like blowers on their radiators in between motos and stuff like that. So just little, bits and pieces like that will probably help them out. But, it's just, and it also too, it's when you start overheating, not only your bike, but your body too, your mind starts, everything's getting hot, your mind's rushing. And so it's, it's going to be hectic. But I think for everyone that, obviously the newcomers to watching Supercross that'll be at the V8, I think it's going to be a pretty cool introduction to Supercross because they're going to get everything, they're going to get action. They're going to get 4 starts of each class. They're going to get carnage, so I can see why they're doing it for sure, but it's definitely hard to go through.
Yeah, well, I guess it's sort of definitely something new. So if it works, we'll probably see it again on the calendar next year. And if it doesn't, at least they've tried something different. So
yeah, that's it. No, and it's like I said, I think the Australian Supercross crew, they've done such a good job at targeting new audiences, with all their social media, doing it at the 500 here in Adelaide is going to be absolutely huge. And they're obviously doing the absolute best to spread Supercross here in Australia. So, even if some riders don't like the formats, I think it's more so, it's benefiting us here in Australia more with, getting new people into it. So, props to the whole Australian Supercross team for sure.
Yeah. Have you been to the Adelaide 500 Supercars event before?
Yeah, I pretty much go every year, to be honest. I've actually done a few motorbike events at the Adelaide 500 before. So every year there's always, some side entertainment, whether it be, I think last year they had BMX, skate park. A few years ago they had Enduro Cross. Back in 2017 they had a thing called Split Rhythm, which was a motorbike, dirt bikes. It's basically a Supercross track, but you take off side by side at a time, and then you do a split lane, sort of rhythm section, and then turn back. It's basically like straight rhythm, but actually on sort of a track and you separate. So that was really cool. I actually got to do that one year. And then in 2019, they did motorbike, high air, step up.
Yep.
And I got to do that as well. And every time that they've had these, motorbike events or whatever it be there, the crowds have been crazy, to, come over and, watch the bikes and meet the riders and stuff. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing not only the core moto fans here in Adelaide be there, but new fans keen on it and sort of just being involved. I think it's going to be epic.
Oh, I can't wait. I was that was sort of going to be one of my lines of questioning about that, on your thoughts on how it would go. So I went to the MotoGP, must be going back, when they had it at Phillip Island, and they had a round of the Supercross Championship there. And the MotoGP. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Well,
2012 and 2013 they had it there.
Yeah, actually, that'd be right, because I did Tough Mudder both those years, and we ran the Supercross track as part of the Tough Mudder course. So, yeah, but anyway, I went and watched the Supercross, and I felt like it was a little bit hit and miss. It was sort of just, a lot of the spectators were sort of just going in and watching it during the lunch break and then moseying away, but I felt like it didn't really capture that audience too well.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you how you thought it would go at Adelaide, and whether that Supercars sort of crowd would be into it, but it sounds like it's been a success in the past with their motorcycling events. So
yeah, definitely. I think it'll you will get those people that'll come and watch for 10, 15 minutes or whatever, and then you sort of mosey off and whatnot. But obviously everyone that enjoys Supercross and dirt bikes here is going to go.
Yep.
So you basically have nearly everyone that, say, was at Australian Supercross last year in the entertainment centre, nearly there.
Yep.
So you're already going to have your regulars, but then you'll have an added, like you said, nearly 200,000 people coming through the door. They're going to see it, and they're going to sit down, whether it be for an hour or half an hour, whatever it is, they're going to see it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but I think the crowds will be good, and obviously it's in Adelaide, so I'm going to know basically everyone there, so it's going to be fun for me to hang out in the home city and just have a good time and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I've been more excited about this round than any of the others so far. So I can't wait to see how that pans out. So if you've got a couple more minutes, man, are you happy to do a little bit of bench racing?
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. I love it.
Fantastic. So as far as the current championship goes, who do you think that the Adelaide round is going to favour the most? So we'll start with, say, the SX1 guys.
Yeah. It's hard to go past Joey at the moment, coming off the last 2 round wins, I guess. I think he's just got a little bit more pace on Dino. You know, he's a little bit younger than Dino, I think, and has a little bit more pace on him. So it's hard to go past him, but I mean, you know, every Aussie would obviously love to see, you know, one of our Aussie boys get up there. But with the short races, you know, it's really going to come down to who's got their starts on lock. And Joey has been a little hit and miss with his starts. So, you know, that could play a really big factor in it. Cloudy's been really good with his starts. So, you know, he you know, you give Cloudy the lead in a 7-lap race, you know, it's going to be pretty hard to beat someone like that. And then obviously Dino as well. So, you know, I'd probably give the nod to Joey just going off the last few rounds. But, it's going to be on that start. And I think that could play a massive factor in it, as it always does.
Yeah, I think with this format, it's the start, like you said, is going to be everything. And like just looking at the lineup, and like you said, Savachi and even Dino haven't always been getting the whole shots. I think if Cloudy gets in the lead from the beginning, he's got the potential to obviously hold those boys off. But even like I'd love to see, just, you know, as part of the story, Jed Beaton or Tanti or even Dylan Wills, if those guys got the whole shot, it'd be cool to see them trying to hold off those Americans and Cloudy. And, you know, it's like you said, the track map doesn't look quite as big as the previous rounds we've had. It still looks like a decent sized track. I think there's 5 rhythm lanes and then a lane of whoops and a straight. So have you been down to see the track yet?
No, I've seen a few photos and videos. Like, obviously, the dirt is getting cut in, or it's mostly in at the moment. So not much of a track yet, but at least they got the dirt in pretty early. So I'll try and go down during the week and just have a peek over the fence or whatever it is and have a look. But, like you said, I would love to see. You know, I feel like Tanny showed a bit of flashes of his old sort of 22 self there, or whatever. I think it was 22 at Wollongong. You know, he got a few really good starts and run up there and run the pace. So, you know, like you said, with these short races, it really does open it up to a lot of guys that in a 20-lap main, you would sort of, you know, not count out, but you would sort of, you know, give the nod to Joey and Dino nearly every 20-lap main just because they have the time. So, so it really does open it up. But I think, you know, Tanny could be a surprise, I feel, for a few moto podiums or maybe even a moto win if he gets those starts again. So I think, that's sort of one to watch for me, I reckon, because he's on the up and he's getting used to that bike. And
he got 2/3 up at Wollongong and a couple of good starts. So,
Yeah, exactly. So, if sort of I've got a dark horse for a moto win or two, I think for me it might be Tanny. And then obviously, Joey and Dino. But, who I guess we'll see in nearly a week.
The one thing I do like about the track map, like Wollongong was probably, speaking to the riders, a little bit hard to pass, but there's, I think, 5 180s at Adelaide. So assuming that the track gets built, you know, as per the track map, 180s are always good. You know, they allow lots of passing. And if the track is a little bit slower, you know, makes it a little bit easier for you boys to run it in. So,
no, that's it. Like, I mean, if you think at Wollongong, we kind of only had, 1-2 proper 180s.
Yep.
And then all the other corners were kind of funny angled, whether they were 90 degrees or a sweeper or a flat turn, you know. So, I definitely can see that, you know, hard to pass. So, like I said, if we got those 180s, you can really, you know, run it up the inside and make something happen. So that'll be better racing already.
All right, moving on to SX2. We sort of chatted a little bit about it off air, but after the carnage at Wollongong, there's quite a few riders out, and so this might change. But at this stage, as far as I'm aware, so Noah Ferguson, Ryder Kingsford, Reese Budd, Bailey Malkowitz, and Alex Larwood are all going to be out for the Adelaide rounds. I mean, in one sense, you know, it's not great for those guys, but you know, the other riders that are sort of on the fringe of the top 10 or even beyond the top 10 are going to have a chance to get up there a little bit more. So, you know, with those guys out, though, what are your sort of thoughts on SX2 and is there going to be anyone that can challenge those Americans in Shane McElrath and Cole Thompson?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Shane's so solid. He's so experienced, been there and done it all around the world. So I think, like, for these boys, it's really going to be a thing of just try and get as close to him as possible and try and, and keep that gap closed. But, I mean, we have seen Shane start, not be...
Great, yeah.
Great. So I know he's probably a little bit heavier on the 250 compared to, Connolly and Cole and a few of these other guys. So it goes back to these 7-lap races, man. It could really open up for someone like, Brody Connolly, or even, we saw Connolly get a heat race win at Wollongong and look strong out front, and guys like Reed Taylor, who's got a lot of speed and
yep.
can get those good starts, and someone like Reed is a rider who is comfortable out front. He's a really confidence rider. If he gets out front, he's going to be dangerous. But I think still over the course of 4 races, you'd probably give Shane give him the overall. I would say over the course of 4 races, he's really good at controlling the chaos. And then behind that, it is a bit of a
free for all. Yep.
Free for all. Like you said, there's a lot of guys out, unfortunately, and glad to hear that they're somewhat okay-ish. That it's not too bad of injuries. I know Ryder's going to be back for World Supercross in Melbourne, so that's cool. And then haven't heard on the other boys, but it's going to be up in the air. We got Connolly he's kind of really picking this Supercross thing up. He gets better sort of every time, and he's not scared to, as we know, he's not scared to fight for it, and he's going to throw it in there, and that's awesome. That's the 250 class. It's chaos, and I think Brody could sneak in a win or two in this this four main race, and but it will be hard to get past those Honda boys. They're pretty solid. So you got to say Shane, and then like I said, after that it is kind of a free for all, really.
Yeah, I said it to Zano earlier, but with Brody Connolly, like it's easy to overlook the fact, like for him, it's his first real Supercross season on the big bikes, and he's competing with the likes of Cole Thompson and Shane McElrath, who, Shane McElrath won an AMA 250 championship, and I think his potential is so high. We know he's not scared. He's so good on a dirt bike, and like if he can keep it together and keep it on 2 wheels, and he finds a bit of confidence, because he's tied on points with Cole Thompson for second, and they're only 7 points behind Shane. I still think he could be a little bit of a dark horse if there's a bit of chaos, or Shane McElrath, suffers a little bit of bad luck or some bad starts. So I kind of hope that this, championship in SX2 kind of gets mixed up a little bit. I'd love to see that. And even Reed Taylor, like you said, I think he could definitely win a race. He's got blistering fast speed. So it is exciting. Like you said, I think Brody is definitely, for me, he's one to watch. It's like he thrives off of chaos. It's like he just, he just, something, crazy goes on, and it's like it gets him excited. It gets him like pumped up, and he goes even harder, and that's, that's awesome. That's a young 250, a young, hungry 250 rider. So I feel like if Brody gets in, a lead of a main event, like for those guys, he's going to fight for that thing, no matter who it is. Yep.
He's going to absolutely fight for that thing. So he has, like, he's even from first round to second round to third round, like he's come a long way. So I mean, just looking at the points, obviously he's that next sort of guy in line. But with the short races, it's going to be carnage. So who knows?
Yeah, and I think word about town is that it's still not all beer and Skittles under that tent amongst those 3 guys. So if they are close together with all those 180s, we might see some questionable moves, which would be
and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's Brody's one. He's obviously MX2 champ. I know there's obviously probably some team orders, but I feel like if Brody gets in the heat of the moment, those team orders might go out the window.
Oh, yeah, I mean, within 7 points,
Yeah.
Like all three of them. And then they've got,
Yep.
what's that, 7-point gap back to Reed Taylor.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know if there would be team orders. It kind of be like 1, 2, and 3. I think you'd either be happy for any of them to win.
Well,
So-
yeah, when I say team orders, I mean just don't T-bone each other and
yeah.
take each other out in one turn. But, no, 100%. They're all obviously riding for themselves. But I can tell you this much. I wouldn't want to be either Shane or Cole around Brody if he's sniffing around for a championship, that's for sure.
I agree. All right, we won't go too deep into it, but SX3, have you got to watch much of that?
Honestly, not a lot. SX3 always sort of like is on when we're back in the pit getting ready or doing something, getting ready for our races. So I don't get to see a lot. I know obviously Kai Woods had a really strong Wollongong, which is really cool. He's he can have those rides where he can just whole shot and see you later, and he's unstoppable. And then obviously Cannon, like Jake Cannon he's a wild card. You kind of never know with him. You kind of wait until he's finished the race before you can make a judgment because you never know what's going to happen. And then I think amongst all that, we've still got, is it Seth Burchall still leading the points?
Yeah, he's still up by 5 points, so he's still got the red plate.
So amongst all that, you've still got Seth who's kind of been, I guess, like obviously with the red plate, he's been the most consistent. So yeah, I think this weekend will be cool because they are on Sunday. I'll actually get to go and, just watch without having to race. So it'll be cool to watch the juniors or the 85s and the SX3 class for a change.
Yeah, well, I actually did an interview with Seth. Man, what a super nice, humble kid. We sort of chatted about whether or not he was expecting to be in this position coming into the championship.
No, Seth he's an awesome kid. I've known of him for a little while and obviously seen him around when he was juniors. And I think it kind of surprised everyone the way he came out at Redcliffe. And I'm sure he was obviously, and the WBR boys and Trav and Nathan and that were, confident in his skills. But I don't think anyone thought he would go and sort of win like he did, as in anyone outside of his little circle. It's kind of a bit of a surprise. I think coming in when you've got someone like, like a sort of a big draw card like Jake Cannon, I think everyone was kind of leaning that way. And, for Jake, I think it's kind of like he's on the Honda team. Obviously, he's there to win. And so everyone was kind of looking at that direction. And then Seth comes out and gets the win and then stays consistent in Wollongong. I think this is awesome. And I know for the WBR boys, I'd love for them to get a championship because they put so much work into these programs. So it'd be cool for not only Seth, but the team to get some more wins. And I think it's a pretty cool story. And like you said, Seth is a really good kid.
No, 100%. All right, well, I've taken up a bunch of your time. Before I let you go, have you been working on any cool moto-related projects lately? Because last time I had you on the podcast, you were doing a bunch of cool stuff. So, you had any of that in the works?
Not anything like personally, but I'm actually, as of 2 weeks ago, I signed to an Aussie movie doing some stunt double work on a bike. So that's been kind of cool and a new experience to be on a movie setup. It's been definitely something new for me, being on a camera, and I obviously am a double, so you can't really see my face or anything. But so that's sort of been as of late. It's something that I would actually really like to get into more. Is the stunt double work and on movies and stuff like that. So it's kind of a project that's going on at the moment. I've got to be on set tomorrow and set during the week, so I've got a busy week coming up.
Oh, that's so cool. So what sort of stunts are you doing?
I wouldn't really call it stunts as such. It's more of just like one of the characters in the movie, obviously he can't really ride a bike, I don't think. So they need, obviously there's scenes in the movie where he's riding. So they need a double. And then I sort of got my older brother is an actor and he's actually acting in the movie.
Yep.
So when they needed a double, obviously my older brother was looking out for me and wanted and gave me a call and said, "What are you doing over the next couple months?" So so I'm basically just riding along and pretty cruisy and getting paid to do it. It's a pretty cruisy job, but it's good fun and new experience and something to add to the resume. Get a movie credit and all that.
Oh, dream gig, mate. Can you plug the movie at all?
It's called The Run. It's just an Aussie film. Like, I honestly don't know too much about it because I've just kind of been thrown into it sort of last minute. So It'll be, we're filming until like early mid-December. I think filming will wrap. So then obviously 12 months after that, I think it'll be out. So I don't know heaps of details on it, but obviously when there's more details come out, I'll be posting about it and, throwing it up on the socials. So, give it a watch when it does come out, because, you might not see my face, but when there's a ride and you'll know that it's me and see me in the credits. So, yeah, it's just something, like I said, something new and something I do want to get into more of, is doing that, that stunt double work, and maybe sort of a path after racing. And yeah, it's been a cool experience so far. So yeah, looking forward to more of it.
Unreal, mate. Well, I look forward to that, and I look forward to catching up with you over in Adelaide.
Yeah, looking forward to it, mate. We'll see you over here in Radelaide. We'll have some fun at the V8.
Thanks for coming on, and I'll catch you again soon. And that just about brings us to the end of another episode. Massive thanks to my co-host, Zane Mackintosh, and my guests for this show, Connor Guillot, Sam Larsen, Seth Burchall, and Elijah Weise. Massive thanks to our partners here at Mental for Moto, Graphics by Aqua, who of course brought you this show, Bolt Everywhere Premium Racewear, Death Grip Products, Iro Helmets, Works Racing, Five Gloves, Southeast Pools, and Wolf Building Compliance. It's been a massive show. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've been your host, Pete Wolf. Until next time, see ya.